Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we're going to begin here with an article. It's on zcrypto.com. Go over there, check out their website. And it's titled as such: U.S. Senator Ted Cruz bought as much as $50,000 in Bitcoin during the latest crypto market meltdown. Listen, this is just what they want to tell you. We can extrapolate and just imagine that through types of proxies and other entities that might make purchases for Ted Cruz. He probably bought much more than $50,000. Come on now. I don't think that that's hard to fathom, because a lot of politicians, a lot of governmental officials around the world, a lot of millionaires and billionaires want in on Bitcoin before it has that parabolic run to 100K. Now, 100K is not hard to fathom when it comes to Bitcoin if you look at all the different catalysts. Now, we saw recently that they were trying to, I think it was in Arizona or something like that. We're going to cover an article a little later in the video on this, but there are states in the United States, there are states that are attempting to make Bitcoin legal tender. Imagine, first of all, just think about the regulatory implications of that. All right. Then think about the tax implications of that, because then if I would suppose they will only be able to tax certain amounts, large amounts in transactions when it comes to Bitcoin, I would think. So that way people will feel comfortable utilizing it as legal tender without there being some tax implication if you spend 200 Bitcoin here, $10,000 there. You know, I don't know how they're going to do it, but there should be, theoretically speaking, some sort of easing in how cryptocurrency is taxed. Bitcoin is taxed when people use it just to buy a bottle of soda or something, or buy a Tesla. I don't know how they're going to do it, like I said, but I would think that they logically would have to do something. But just imagine if that happens and people are using Bitcoin everywhere to make regular purchases, whether it's a car, motorcycle, a house, a bag of chips at the store. Who knows? People use Bitcoin for a myriad of things. Imagine how that's going to affect the price. Now, there are a myriad of states, a bevy of states trying to do this. You have countries purchasing Bitcoin. That's only going to spread. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, no matter how much they want to try to advise these particular countries, those countries do not have to listen. They're going to do what's best for them, and they see an opportunity in Bitcoin to rise a little bit, to do a little bit better, to help themselves. They're going to take that. They're not going to do something to their detriment just because the International Monetary Fund tells them to. So it's only going to spread with just that few catalysts, just that few. Imagine how it's going to affect Bitcoin's price. Then think about that 100K, that 100K goal. It doesn't seem that unfathomable, does it? No, it doesn't. It seems quite easy. The problem is that I think most astute people know that 100K is in sight and is definitely doable. So they're trying to get in at a low price. So they have to utilize the media to FUD people out, make the regular retail sell. Retail is easy to move, and that price is going to continue to correct and go down and FUD retail out of there so that big money can move in, purchase a lot of Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin does go up exponentially, I mean, it does have a parabolic run, they will have an exponential return on investment. So then there's a very good article here on newsbtc.com. Once again, newsbtc.com. Go over there and check them out. They have some really, really good articles. And they're giving some of the possible catalysts that could push Bitcoin over $100,000. And the article is titled, "What Could Push Bitcoin Above the 100K Threshold?" Here's just one sentence from this article. The report predicts that future developments in macroeconomics and the politics of the U.S., dollar dominance, jobs, votes, taxes, and the aim to oppose China's policies and find leverage against them will lead U.S. policymakers into creating proper regulations for cryptocurrencies and ETFs. What does that mean? That means that if this actually occurs, that there will be a flood of money into crypto, a myriad of cryptocurrencies, mostly the compliant ones, but I think they're going to have to do something with Bitcoin and it will be brought into compliance. There are a myriad of people trying to also build particular layers for Bitcoin to make it a little bit greener. So yeah, I think it will be brought into compliance. And if that were to happen, there's going to be a flood of money into Bitcoin and other compliant crypto. the likes of which no one has ever seen. And a lot of people are going to make a lot of money. Then they even touch on what I was saying earlier, as far as countries and states trying to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. Let's just read this little tidbit here. Beyond El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, the proximity of the U.S. midterm elections has evidenced the American senators and politicians race to follow along. In Wyoming, Arizona, and Texas, politicians are pushing to turn the digital coin into legal tender, pointing at Bitcoin as a new defining factor to get well positioned in the polls. It's not just that, but let's just take that as a catalyst. That is major. That has huge implications. And then if they become legal tender in those states, and there's a large amount of people utilizing Bitcoin to pay for different things, what does it do to that Bitcoin price? The volume should theoretically shoot up. And because of the rarity of Bitcoin, of course, having that amount of transactions flowing through Bitcoin, if they do a lot of other things, I don't know how they're going to do, going to shear up gas fees and such. But what does it do to that price? I would think that price is going to go up. Look, there are so many things happening with Bitcoin. As I said in a prior video, I think 70K, that's where I'm putting the mark. 70K, 80K, it smashes through those easily at some point in the future. People who are getting in now, in my humble opinion, who are getting in now are going to make a pretty good amount of money. So the future is looking bright, in my humble opinion. In the short term, the future is looking bright for Bitcoin. Of course, there's other catalysts that have to be other problematic things that can occur on the horizon. But I mean, we can deal with that once we get there. There are individuals working on remedying some of the problems with Bitcoin. We'll see if they can actually pull it off. But if they can pull it off, then yes, the future is also bright in the long term, in my humble opinion. But it's not going to be easy. I will never say that. There's going to be corrections. There's going to be dips. There are problematic catalysts in the future. So yes, it's going to be a tough time. But those who can see it through, and who can move strategically when it comes to Bitcoin, stay on top of the catalyst, stay on top of the research, watch those charts. The individuals who can do that, in my humble opinion, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but those individuals who can do that are going to see a healthy return on investment. So we have another article on newsbtc.com, and it's titled, "Why Ethereum Could See a 4x Increase, Says This Model." One thing about Ethereum is extremely popular. It has been accepted by large business institutions. Of course, one thing that holds them back from utilizing a lot of the cryptocurrencies, including the cryptocurrencies that are banking rails like XRP, XLM, HBAR, etc., is that there's no regulatory clarity. But even without that, and a few SEC problems, Ethereum has been accepted by the large business institutions and banks to look into Ethereum bank dealings. Okay, you can look into Consensus. Consensus is pushing Ethereum for CBDC infrastructure and as a cryptocurrency banking rail, which I don't believe that, in my humble opinion, Ethereum is built for that. Okay, and Consensus has had its issues, but it has a few banks that it is working with to test out their CBDC infrastructure. Okay, so if they were to land something like that, Ethereum price would shoot through the roof, but you already know that. But it says that in January alone, Ethereum generated a revenue from transaction fees of $1.3 billion. That's only going to increase as it's used more and more, and it will be, as companies become more comfortable with Ethereum by looking at how their peers are using Ethereum. Mass adoption is quite easy at this point for Ethereum, especially if there's ever regulatory clarity on cryptocurrencies. The mass adoption will only increase. So yes, Ethereum price theoretically is going to go up. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And people who are buying into Ethereum now or have held Ethereum will experience a very, very good return on investment. Will it be 4x? I think that's pretty fair, in my humble opinion. 3x, I would go with 3x, but 4x I believe is a pretty good estimation, in my humble opinion. But also, don't forget that certain things that were implemented on Ethereum cause Ethereum to be burned. We have a little tidbit here. It says, with the implementation of EIP 59 last year, the Ethereum fee burn was implemented. With time, more ETH is being burned. Okay, so there you have it. Is being burned than is being created. That's very good. Thus, turning the digital asset deflationary. Anyway, the rarity of Ethereum as time goes on is going to increase its value. So once more, that price is going to go up. So then we have an article here on u.today, and it's titled Ethereum to Introduce New Transaction Format and Urgency to Curb Gas Fees. Gas fees are a major issue for Ethereum that keeps a lot of people from using Ethereum. If they can ever solve gas fees through any type of layer, okay, a layer 2 like Polygon, etc., that can bring down those fees enough, then more regular people will utilize Ethereum because they trust it just based on familiarity with it, seeing it on all the stock exchanges. Ethereum is there. On the crypto exchanges, Ethereum is there. On the news, Ethereum is there. So this level of conditioning has made people comfortable with the idea of utilizing Ethereum. It's not just some cryptocurrency, it's Ethereum. Next to Bitcoin, it is of the big two. So if they can fix those gas fees and have more regular individuals, more retail, utilizing Ethereum for a bevy of different types of transactions, that price is going to go up. So there is a lot of good stuff on the horizon for Ethereum. Do I believe that Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to be the biggest winners in the future? Absolutely not. There are cryptocurrencies that have utilities. The utility era is on the horizon. It has not begun yet. It cannot begin until there is regulatory clarity. But until regulatory clarity, yes, Ethereum has an extremely bright future and people are going to make a lot of money, in my humble opinion, okay? In my humble opinion. So for now, Ethereum's future looks bright, and I believe that, yes, you can see definitely a 3x, 4x at some point, okay? There's no timestamps on this, and if they can curb gas fees, my goodness, or if they can land a CBDC, even one, Ethereum holders and utilizers will experience very healthy return on investment. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and until next time, let's get to the money.